Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I just want to make sure we have everyone on board, or most importantly, Franziska.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I think we might make a start. It's a couple of minutes after time. We have about 31 participants, so I think that's enough to kick off. Just wanted to introduce Franziska. So first of all, my name is Kylie Hodges. I'm a partner from Spark Helmore Lawyers, and I'm on the committee of the NAWIC Events Committee here in Queensland. So it's our great pleasure today to have Franziska joining us and presenting to us. So Franziska is the co-founder of Basic Bananas, the business hood, ocean lovers and moments of humanity. In 2013, Franziska was awarded the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, recognising her innovation, creativity and philanthropic involvement. Franziska is a board member at the Entrepreneurs Organisation, sits on the judging panel for Singularity University and has run think tanks at the United Nations to address the UN Sustainable Development Goals through entrepreneurship. Franziska is the author of 2 best-selling books, with a third one just released this year. Sir Richard Branson wrote the foreword. She's regularly featured across the media, including INC, Forbes, Business Insider, Virgin In-Flight Entertainment, Marie Claire, Cosmopolitan, Smart Company, Dynamic Business Magazine, BRW, 2UE and Channel 9. Franziska is a Swiss-born Australian, or Swazi, I think you say, Franziska, and is known for her down-to-earth attitude, infectious energy, integrity and courage to take the lead. So we're really pleased to have Franziska here today presenting to us, and I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm also trying to start my video so people can actually see me, but it's not allowing me to do that for some reason. Maybe you have to make me host. It says you can't start video because the host stopped it.
Okay.
Maybe you have to do it.
I have.
Okay, let's see if that works now. Yeah, there we go.
Excellent.
Oh, amazing. All right. So I guess you can see me, but I can't see anyone else on the call.
No, and neither can I. I don't know if everyone's got their videos.
It might be because it's a webinar. I think they can't even maybe turn on their videos. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I do feel sometimes a bit more lonely when it's just me, but I will be sharing the screen. So it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I will share my screen right now because I have a ton of information for you today. So I will also talk really fast. And yeah, Kim is saying it's a webinar, we're here. Okay, cool. I'm happy you're here. And I'm really just super pleased that we're doing this session for you all, and especially because I'm a very big advocate in supporting fellow business owners, women especially, but also men. But I really love talking to women. And I know today we have a bit of a mixed audience, right? We have contractors, we have business owners, we also have people that work for business owners. Is that correct? Just so.
That is correct, yes.
Right, okay, cool. So, and I also have actually a few friends that work in construction, and I got a little bit of intel from them too on you guys, which is cool. So let me share my screen right now. And what we'll do is I'll take you through a few frameworks. What I'd like to do is also I'd like to make this very accessible and also make sure that you can ask me questions as we go along. So I will press play on this slideshow now, but I will come off mute or after the show and check your questions. So if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A. So there's a thing called Q&A somewhere on your screen. I'm sure everyone is super familiar with Zoom by now. You're probably zoomed out. You can ask anything in the Q&A and I will get to every question today. And I'll just come off every now and then to check in with you. So today we're going to look at mainly marketing, but I was thinking when I was preparing for this session, how I can add the most value for everyone here, not just because it's not just business owners, it's different levels of work and how you work. So I wanted to make this super duper tangible for you all. So I'm going to give you 2 frameworks today. Now, I'm not going to share more about myself because you can look me up online and I just want to get straight into the content. But in case you are wondering about this accent, it is a Swazi accent, mainly Swiss. accent, because I mean, I have been here for 16 years, I think, since 2005, and I still sound super foreign, like a foreigner. And also I just had a baby daughter. She's 7 weeks tomorrow, and I just handed her over to my partner, and it's really lovely to actually be doing this, because I used to do a lot more of this, but I'm still, you know, it's nice to just get a break and use my brain more differently. Here are some of the businesses that we have built, and the frameworks I'm going to share with you today, we have used them for all of these. The last two here are not really businesses. This one is our band. We're not very good. The interesting thing about this is you can find, we have one album on Spotify, and the interesting thing about marketing is that it opens doors. And because we know how to market, we did get to open for an Aussie band called UMI, and we got in, but we didn't get invited back. And the reason why we got in is because we know how to market. The reason why we didn't get invited back for another show is because we're not that good. Now, of course, marketing opens doors, but then we have to back up, obviously, with how we deliver the product, in your case, in the construction industry. So that's really interesting. And this one here is just a movement of kindness that I came up with when I was riding a motorbike from Switzerland to Kazakhstan, into Asia. If you want to tag us today, you're welcome to do that. You have this tag here and this one here. You know, sometimes people take screenshots or selfies, and then if you want to tag, we will then also be able to connect with you and reshare and engage. I've got one of my team members on social media. Now, the two frameworks I'd like to share with you today, one is the brand alchemy method. And this one is, especially this one, applies to anyone, no matter if you run a business or not. This is a really powerful framework, and it's one of my favorite ones that we have here. We use it in our branding agency a lot. I'm going to share that with you, and then we will tie it all together with the one-page marketing plan. So you'll notice that usually when we run sessions, even though it's just 1 hour, they're jam-packed. I talk double speed, and I've been to lots of seminars over the last decade, and sometimes I walk away thinking, why did I even go? I spent all these hours sitting there learning nothing, and I don't ever want anyone to feel like that when I run a session. I will also, because I talk so fast, I will also give you a link for both of these to also, if you want to resit it, that I've recorded a session, a 1 hour session on this one here, which I'll give you the link for if you want to revisit. And then for this one here, we have a 2 hour live session that is also free, and I'll give you the link at the end for that too, so you can reset. But today's session is a bit specific because I've targeted it towards your audience. So first up, the brand alchemy method. This is the method that we use, as I mentioned, in our agency. And there are different components, as you can see, to this methodology. And I'm going to take you through each of them now, one by one. So I'll just go for a few of the elements, and then I'll come and check on your questions, and then we go and do the rest of them. So the first part of your brand alchemy is your brand foundation. So basically the purpose of this is to help you come up with a really good brand strategy. And this is why I'm really excited about it for you. This can be applied to a business, and I'll use a few business examples here, but it can also be applied to you as a person. So this can also be used as for a personal brand, not only for a business brand. So for some of you, you will use it for your business. For some of you, you might revisit your personal brand. And I know that NAWIC, is that how I say it, NAWIC? Yeah, and sometimes with abbreviations, my pronunciation is a bit off. Is it NAWIC or NAWIC? So with NAWIC.
NAWIC, yes.
NAWIC, yeah, with NAWIC, obviously the purpose is to empower women. So this tool will hopefully help you to build a brand that will help you to be seen and treated as an equal in this industry. So the first one is your brand foundation, and that has two elements to it. One is the brand purpose, and one is the principles. So the brand purpose first. Some questions to ask yourself is, and also I'm happy to make these slides available, by the way, because if it's helpful, I can send them through, and then you can all get them. So some questions to ask yourself is, why are you doing what you're doing? For what purpose did you start this business? If you run a business, what's the biggest problem you're solving for your audience, for your clients? And or what positive impact are you making? So you ponder these questions. Today, obviously, we don't have time to ponder too much, but just when you have time to go over this strategy, it would be great to ask these questions. Now, some examples, I've included some here. When we ponder this question for Basic Bananas, the answer for us is that our purpose is to help business owners succeed by providing the best marketing mentoring on planet Earth. So we run marketing mentoring programs like these ones, just more hours. And the purpose of that is to help business owners succeed. Another one of our businesses is Ocean Lovers. And the Ocean Lovers purpose is to inspire and motivate the masses to save our oceans. And the Ocean Lovers is a product business, and we make surf suits made from recycled plastics retrieved from the ocean. At NAWIC, the purpose is our vision is an equitable construction industry where women fully participate. That's really great too. It's very specific. It's solving a problem and it's making an impact. And you can also use this for your own personal life. What for you personally, what is your purpose? And it doesn't have to be anything massive. For me, my personal purpose is to make right now, and that can change. Obviously, for me right now and for the last decade, my personal purpose has been to make an impact, a positive impact through entrepreneurship. So that's been guiding me for the last 10 years. And that might, as I said, it might change in the future or it might stay the same. The second part of your brand foundation is your principles. And some questions here again to ask is, what do you stand for? What do you stand against? What are your non-compromisables? And I'll share some examples again with you. And again, this applies personally and for business. For Ocean Lovers, you can see some examples here. The best thing to do when you come up with your principles is to only pick between, say, 3 to 5, roughly, is a good number, just so that you can remember them. For Basic Bananas, we used to have up until even, it's almost a little bit embarrassing, but even up until last year or the year before last year, we had 10 values that nobody remembered. And that means we're not really walking the talk. So we had a session with our team and we narrowed them down to 5 so we can remember them. And you can see once you have your values defined, if you have a website, pop them on the bottom. We have them on the bottom of in the footer, on the bottom of every page on the website. So you can take a look. If you look at basicbananas.com or oceanlovers.com, you can find it. One more example here real quick is, this is an example of one of our clients. It's a business in Saudi Arabia. They work with us in the branding agency, and they had these values before here. So GT Medical, they import medical equipment and supplements, etc., into Saudi Arabia from Australia, US, UK. So their values were, we don't miss targets, take the challenge, we do it better, be different. It's very lame. It's not very good. It's also very them focused. It's not inspiring for us as potential customers or clients, these values. So we then had a session with them and we came up, this is way too many. So this is just a whole list of examples that we then narrowed down to 4 values. But you can see the difference here from we don't miss targets to, let's say, forward thinking, always think one step ahead. Personally, also, I don't usually share this too much because it is very personal, but I thought, a group of women, I don't know if we have any men here today or not, but it's okay. I also have super clarity on my personal values, and they've been the same for a long time, and they probably will stay the same. So it's also good for you personally to have clarity on what drives you. What do you stand for personally? These are my personal values, and I don't recommend this, but I have even gone so far as to come up with a symbol for each of them, and I've tattooed them on my hand here. So I've got a symbol for each of these values just to make sure that I live them every day, because I see it every day. So you can do this also for you personally. And it just helps you to, I feel like when you have clarity on this, it helps you to feel aligned with what you do every day. Because normally, and I've had this in the past, I used to work in advertising. When I first moved to Sydney, I worked in advertising, doing strategy work for big corporations, advertising strategy, marketing strategy. And I didn't feel very fulfilled. And I didn't know why. I just thought maybe it's because I live in a new country, my family is not here. I wasn't sure why. And I later realized that the reason why I wasn't feeling very fulfilled is because I wasn't living my values, especially this value here of impact. I didn't feel like I was making an impact in advertising because I was, you know, sometimes I guess working with corporations that I normally maybe wouldn't support and helping them sell stuff that I didn't think people should buy. Now, so that's the core of your brand strategies, your purpose, your principles. The next part here we're going to look at, and then I'll come off to check any questions after these three elements here, is your positioning. This is the biggest part when it comes to brand strategy, is your brand positioning. And to drive home the point here and to show you why this is so important is I'd like to show you this video real quick. So this is a 2-minute video and I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to play it, hopefully.
Not 140.
Oh,
Yeah.
why is that?
Comes to $40, thanks.
40.
You're kidding.
This one's actually not 140. It's only 40.
Wow.
This is actually a best and less store.
Are you serious?
This is best and less.
I'm speechless.
We believe that you don't have to pay these crazy prices to get fashionable items to look good.
Ah.
I would never have guessed that that was part of Best and Less.
I was so surprised and shocked at the quality and the cut.
You don't have to spend $140 on something to look great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is what I'm always saying. I'm impressed. When she told me that it was only $40, I was so happy.
I actually thought she got it wrong and I tried to correct her.
I don't mean to be a snob, but I wouldn't go to Best and Less.
That's the point, isn't it?
Okay, I'm shocked. Oh my God. That's changing my perception.
If you can find something that looks more expensive but is cheaper, I think that's just smart shopping.
I hope you have a good day. See you later.
All right, so what is that telling us? Here is, this is a case study that actually Best and Less did, and they did this to prove the point that their clothing is high quality at a lower price, because that is their positioning. So their positioning is we provide the best possible product at a lower price. Now, the interesting thing about and the importance for us all here is that it's the same product. So that it's the same exact clothing, but they managed to triple the price or add $100 to the price just by changing the brand. So instead of Best and Less, they created L&B, L&B, and made it look high end. And they had a store somewhere, like a pop-up that was very minimalistic, and just the way that the clothing was presented is very different to Best and Less. And people went in there and they were happy to pay triple the price. And that is a very interesting case study to show us that it is, as the lady said at the end, it is all about perception. So branding and positioning is all about creating the right perception. So we have to really make sure that when we, especially when in a business, but also as a personal brand, what is the perception that we want? Do we want to be high-end, mid-end? What do we want to be known for? And I'll give you some questions now, because then we have to make sure that visually and the experience that we give people is helping us to be positioned in that way. So I'm going to give you a few quick elements here, and then I'll see if we have questions. The first one is we have to know what the brand identity is. So how do we want to be perceived? So the two questions are, how do you want to be perceived? Again, business or personally, what do you want to be known for? These are really, really important questions to ask yourselves. And then you can amplify your identity across language, images, messages. I'll show you some examples here. So here's the one example I've shared before. This is the Saudi company. And when they first came to us, their perception was very outdated, old school, kind of on the uglier side, how they presented their brand. but they wanted to work with Westerners, people in the Western world that were going to partner with them to sell the equipment into Saudi Arabia. So they had to change their perception, and the perception that they want and now have is they want to be a leader in their, Saudi Arabia with what they do, innovative and purpose driven. So this has to be reflected again in the images, in the colors that they choose, in the messaging, etc. The second example here real quick is this one here. And they, again, this is a brand that we've built. You can see the examples here on the screen. They wanted to be trustworthy. And you can even see this when if I ask, if I had a live audience, I would ask, hey, what do you think the perception is here? What do you feel? Trustworthy, warm, and expert they're going for. And also not too feminine, but definitely not masculine, because in real estate, often a lot of their competitors are very masculine and very, very sort of, the images are often very sort of sleazy car salesman images. So they wanted to move away from that and make it a little bit more zen, a bit more trustworthy, and slightly more feminine. The next element, this one is also super important when it comes to positioning, is to differentiate. Especially in a crowded market, most of us are in a crowded market, or more competition is coming into the market. So we have to look at how we can differentiate and how we can become what we say talkaboutable. And I'll give you some strategies here real quick. When you are talkaboutable, you will also attract more media if that's what you want. But media sometimes can be really good, positive media. People say any kind of media is good media. No, I don't agree with that. I think bad media is bad media and you don't want it. But if you get good media features, it can bring a lot of business. Especially you guys have a lot of industry magazines, and those are the ones that you would want to be featured in. So how can you become talkaboutable? Here are 3 questions that I'd like to share with you. One is, what's a frustration in your industry that you could solve? I'll give you an example in a minute. Secondly, because sometimes it's a bit like, what do you mean? Secondly, what makes you different to your competitors? So what are you already doing that makes you different? And thirdly, what are you really good at already? What are your strengths? Maybe you're really good at talking to customers, clients. Maybe you're really good at follow-up. Maybe you're really good at finishing projects on time or on budget. So what are you really good at? You want to play by those strengths. Let me give you the frustration in your industry example. I'll give you a funny one. This is from one of our members that went through one of our programs, the Clever Bunch, and he is a plumber. Now he asked himself, what is a frustration that my audience has? His audience are mainly women, and a frustration that they often have with plumbers is that they don't show up on time. 2 frustrations, one, and the second one is the funny one. One is don't show up on time. The second one, frustration that women have, is they don't want to see the plumb crack, the plumber's bum crack, except if it's a really good one. And so he made a promise on his messaging and his website and wherever he had his message. One is that he said, we're always on time. If we're not on time, we will give you $50 cash. So all his team members, they had $50 in their pocket here. And if they come even just a few minutes late because of whatever reason, they will give the customer $50. And it's the best. I mean, they try to be on time, of course, because that's a promise. But if something does happen and they're a few minutes late, $50, it's the best marketing. Because what does this customer do? She tells everyone about it. She tells all her friends. She probably posts it on Facebook. And then this plumber gets more clients. For the plum crack one, he just put that on his website. He said, we promise to not show any plum cracks. Now, you can differentiate also through the pricing. Either you're more expensive, or you can do through product offering, or through the customer experience, or through the design. I've already talked a little bit about that, or through any extras like the plumber had the guarantee. Here's just an example. An example of differentiation. This is our brand I mentioned before, Ocean Lovers. Even though it's a fashion brand per se, we are one of our differentiations with all, there are so many swimwear brands out there, is community. So we managed to build a really good community of people that love Ocean Lovers and that do beach cleanups under our umbrella. We give them the tools, and also some of them have gotten the brand tattooed on their skin, which is amazing. We want more of them. Another example here is a sock business, just again for differentiation. What they do is they use, this is a brand that we've built also, they use different names for their socks. So rather than calling these socks here red with black dots, they may call them Dirty Martini, for example. So again, that's a differentiation. Another example here is another brand that we've built, a retail store in the city here in Sydney, is you can use this too, this example is using a theme. You can use this in construction, easy. I've seen some of our customers, I'm showing you some later, I believe, using themes like the mountain theme, for example. If somebody's really passionate about mountains, they might use a theme of mountains on their visuals, and then the analogy of climbing a mountain and whatever comes with that, safety, etc. This one here is using the theme of Viking. So every touch point here has a Viking feel to it. The third part of the positioning, the last part of positioning, is your positioning statement. And here's an example. Actually, this is an example that you guys would connect with. This is another brand we've built, and I love this. This guy is so cool. His name is Eddie, and his business is called Steady Eddie's Landscaping. And again, his brand, like a lot of his competitors' brands, was very ugly, just same, just nothing cool about it. Because in that space, a lot of brands are ugly, unfortunately. So he managed, we managed to create something so much better and cooler. And you can see his tagline is, his positioning statement is creating your paradise. It's customer focused, client focused, and it's focused on an outcome, which is what you want. And here are just some other examples that you all know in terms of taglines, just famous ones like Airbnb, Belong Anywhere, Disneyland, I love this one, the happiest place on earth. The one that you also, an old one here, is the reason why we give or receive diamonds when we get engaged, or some people do, is because of this campaign here. This is actually all fabricated marketing positioning. Is De Beers, who was the biggest diamond conglomerate in South Africa. They came up with this campaign, a diamond is forever. It's made up. It's not true. I mean, they is the hardest stone, but why are we buying into this fad? Is because of this campaign here. So I'm going to quickly see, before I go into the last two parts of the framework, if we have questions. And if not, I'll just keep rocking and rolling. And then we can still do questions at the end. Yeah, all good? Okay, cool. If you have questions, just pop them in there and I'll get to them. So now, actually also maybe tell me quickly that, am I going too fast? Can you quickly tell me that we're all good? All good? Okay, sweet. Okay, if I hear nothing, it means a good thing, hopefully. So the next one here, the next part we're going to look at now is your brand messaging. And here are two parts to your brand messaging as part of your strategy, brand strategy. One is your brand promises. And I'm going to give you here a real quick, this is a little bit more advanced thinking. So what you can do when you come up with your messages, and your messages are useful for when you write campaigns, when you write marketing campaigns, when you write text. We call it marketing copy in marketing language. When you write text for anything, for a brochure, for an email, for a website, for email signatures, these brand promises, messages will help you to do that. And what you can do when you think about your core brand promises is think about what are different types of personalities in terms of your clients that you generally deal with. And generally, you all have these four. So you have, and you will also be one of them. So what normally happens is, let's say if you are a visionary kind of person, if you're a big picture person, when you write text for your marketing, you will usually write it in a way that is appealing to you. It just comes easy because that's how you think. But then the person who is into details will not connect with your text. So that's my sort of challenge when I write text. I'm a bit of a big picture person. I'm not very detailed at all. So when I write text, I need to remember these personalities so that I can also include a lot of details for the detailed person. Otherwise, the copy will not connect with them, the text. So we have the impactor, the person who is all about making a positive impact. So for them, we need to show what impact are we making. Then we have the visionary, big picture person. Then we have the detailed person. They want to know all the details. How does it work? How long does it take? How much does it cost? We have the challenger or the skeptic. This person here, for them, we need to include case studies, testimonials, if we are allowed, depending on industry regulations, because they want to know. They also, maybe if you have any qualifications, if you've won awards, if you've been featured in the media, that helps with the skeptic. So here's an example of messaging real quick, just straight up messaging here. This is another brand we've built. Lay the foundation for your building design career. It's just straight up a bit more of a, this one is a bit more for the visionary. Then they, on this website, they have to have more details about how does it work for the detailed person. Normally I give you one more, I'm giving you a lot, but you can handle it. One more is, you often want to start with the big picture thing. So hook them in with the bigger picture, with the impact that you help someone make, and then explain the details. So you want to hook them in with the bigger picture, like here, and then you explain what are the details of working with you. This is the one of the messages for NAWIC is, and this again, this is for the impactor and the big picture person. And then when you dig deeper into the website, it talks about a lot more about how do we do it, by running these seminars, etc., by having a members organization, awards, etc. So for NAWIC, one messaging is we advocate for change, we educate and empower, we connect, we are NAWIC. So that's the impactor message and a bit of the big picture one. And if you look at the website, this is pretty much upfront, which is good, and then the details after. The second part of messaging is stories. And in every industry, including construction, the power of stories is important. People connect with people, and people connect with stories. The reason why is because we are humans, we are pretty much the only species on the planet Earth, out of all animals, monkeys, etc., that will have been sharing information through storytelling. So cavemen started storytelling around the campfire, and that this is how we know about our past and history is because of storytelling. So we are storytelling beings, and that's why it's important to use stories in our marketing. And you can tell any kind of stories. People connect with people, as I say. You definitely, if you are a business owner or a founder or a contractor and you have your own website, you want to share a little bit about you that is not just about your career and your professional life, but maybe one little tiny thing that is personal. It can be a spare time thing. On our website on Basic Bananas, we featured all our team members, and then for each team member, it talks one little thing personal about them. So somebody says, I'm obsessed with baking and always on the hunt for the latest baking recipe, for example. So something a little bit personal that people can connect with. And then you can also use customer stories. These are sort of like case studies where you talk about how you've worked with someone and how working with them has impacted them or their business. One great example that I quickly share with you here is Patagonia. This is obviously not a brand that we have built. Patagonia are an outdoor clothing label. They make outdoor clothing, and they're one of the bigger ones, and they use even stories on their website. So they're an e-commerce website. E-commerce means you can buy the clothing online. They use stories to talk about their customers, and that's how people connect with them too. You can do this in any industry, including construction. So that's the part on messaging. One last part to the brand alchemy method, and then I'll give you the link to rewatch if you want to rewatch the session. And the last part is brand engagement. So once you've got the previous parts we've looked through, you then need to make sure that you share your message externally first, but also if you have a team, internally. So this part here applies to everyone. The second part only to people with teams. Externally, one thing you want to do is understand your customer or client, same thing, your client journey. And the best thing you can do here is think about what are all the touch points that you have in your business with your clients. A touch point can be obviously your website. It can be if you do quotes, your quoting, your proposals, your invoices, your email signatures, if you have premises, your outfits, your what's it called? Yeah, if you wear your branded outfits, it can be uniforms. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Uniforms. It can be your phone messaging. Yeah, that thing. Here's I'm gonna give you a few examples. Here's one example from a mechanic. This is such a brilliant campaign. Doesn't cost him hardly anything, maybe $1 for postage and maybe 50 cents for this card. What he does is every time he has a customer, now he doesn't have time anymore, so he has someone doing it for him. He puts his greasy fingerprint on there, draws a stick animal, and then writes a message to the person who just got the car serviced by his garage. And this here, I use him for my cars, and this message here gets shared everywhere. People that get his card, they share it on social media, they share it with their girlfriends, they put it on the fridge. It's the best marketing for very, very, very little money. It's one touch point that he has that he did really well. Another example here is just visually, you can see this is another brand that we have built, TreeMate. You can see he's got his branding. Touch points are, as we mentioned, uniforms on his website, on his vehicles. He's got the branding really beautiful, and obviously really clear how to get in touch with him too. So again, think about what are all the touch points, and then have consistency in your touch points. Another example is here, we have mentioned this before, is again, all the touch points, letterhead, packaging, website. Here is a really cool thing, actually. This is a clothing tag that comes with the suits, and it has a message on here that says, inside it has a recyclable plastic bag. Outside it says, next time you go to the beach, would you mind picking up some trash to help us save the ocean? Again, it's aligned with the messaging, which is what you want to do also. And lastly, there's internal engagement. So if you do have a team, you want to make sure that your team is on the same page with you when it comes to your brand strategy. So when it comes to your brand positioning, what you want to be known for, your perception, how you want to be perceived, you need to have your team on the same page, because they are your best ambassadors when it comes to branding. Really, they need to be carrying your brand. So two things you can do to do this. One is you can create a culture book, and we just actually finishing one for a company called Auto Transform in New Zealand, and they had the same challenge. They have a great brand, but they want to be #1 in New Zealand they transform vehicles, and their teams they're interested in helping Auto Transform, but they don't really know what the perception is and how to help them. So we've created a culture book, which is amazing. And then also the second thing you can do, if you have a team, and we've done this here with Aga, this is one of our team members, we've picked the most empathetic person on our team, and we've asked her, she's the most nurturing one. We said, Aga, would you also like to be, she's in marketing, would you like to be a team happiness rockstar also on top of the normal role? And what that means is to just make sure that the team is aligned, they're happy. We do occasionally a team event. At the moment, we unfortunately haven't been able to do much because we are in lockdown here in Sydney. I'm even working from home. I'm not even in the office at the moment. But normally she would make sure everyone is happy, we're connecting, and we are carrying the brand. So these are two things you can do. Now, I'll see if I have questions, but before I do, here is a link that you can use.
There's just some questions in the webinar chat.
Oh yeah. Can I?
What does the culture contain?
Oh, here I can see. Yeah, it's all good. Oh, what about LinkedIn? Yeah, for LinkedIn, you can use the same frameworks here in terms of messaging too. What I suggest you do is, for LinkedIn, I have a really good formula. I'm just thinking, where is that video? I made a video. If you go to, let me just pop it in the chat here. If you go to YouTube, and you search for Basic Bananas TV, and there is a video. If you just look through the videos linked in bio, I share a framework that is really, really good to help you write a bio for your LinkedIn. It's a really good framework to use. So check that out. And Amanda, what does a culture book contain? I might share our culture book with you so you can see it's quite deep, all the different parts, but I'm happy to share the basic bananas one. Should I just send it to you maybe, and then you can share it with them? Yeah. I'll send it through, and then anyone who wants it, totally happy to use it as an example or get in touch, and we can help you. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll share that with you. Are those all the questions? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you, so the last, to bring it all together. So this is, take a quick photo of this screen if you want to watch the brand strategy again. It's a 1-hour video. I did this for Singularity University actually, and they allowed me to also use this for other people. So the second framework, really quickly to bring it together, is the 90-day marketing plan, or I call it the one-page marketing plan. We use this marketing plan every quarter. For every business that we're involved in, we use this plan every quarter just to revisit, to make sure we're still on the same page. And it's pretty much bringing together what we've already done. And you can also download it here. I'll just quickly show you, have it open here. So we've also got this for you if you want to use it. You can download it on this link. I'm going to share the link with you again. You can, and we use this exact framework here. So we use this exact page every quarter, we revisit it, and you can download it on this link here. So if you go to basicbananas.com/marketing plan, it will take you to that page that I just showed you, and you can just download, and then you can edit each box here. So I'm going to quickly take you through each of these boxes. We've pretty much done most of them already. So the first part of your marketing plan here is your why. So that's what we've talked about already in your brand strategy. What is the foundation of your messaging? Why are you doing what you're doing? What problem are you solving? I want to give you a quick example here. And this is the example I'm going to give you. Is the reason why is because I'd like you to understand the difference between the why of what you do and the what of what you do. Simon Sinek talks about this a lot too. So there's a difference between selling the what, and there's a difference between selling the why. What you want to sell first is the why. Why are you doing? What's the outcome? So the question you need to ask is, what's the outcome of what you sell? For Harley Davidson, what of what they sell is motorbikes, but that's not what they sell on their marketing. What they sell on their marketing is, we fulfill dreams of personal freedom. So basically what their message is all about freedom. And if you go to their marketing, to their website, or you receive any message from them, it's usually around freedom. Because if they only focus on selling motorbikes, they would not be in business anymore, because there are better bikes out there. So the reason why they're still here after so many years is because they sell freedom, they sell the why. And that's also why lots of people have Harley Davidson tattoos, because it's not just about the motorbikes, it's about the why, the outcome. What happens if I ride a Harley Davidson? I feel free. That's what they go for. The second part of your marketing plan, as you then can see when you download it, is your audience. So you need to really understand who your audiences are, who are your clients. And preferably when you do this research, you study your best top clients. Who are your best clients? Because we all know the pain in the bum clients, and we don't want them. So what we need to do is we need to figure out who are the best clients, and what are their demographics and what are their psychographics, so that we can attract more of them. So a great exercise to do is write down the names of your best clients that you've ever worked with, and then think about, are there similarities in demographics? Demographics are male, female, age, income brackets, where they live, what associations they belong to, what their spare time hobbies are, what cars they drive, do they have kids, are they married, etc. So those are demographics. But then, most importantly, you want to see what their psychographics are. So what are their emotional triggers? Because you need to know this so that you can then talk in their language when it comes to marketing. So what do you want to do when it comes to psychographics? You want to understand what they desire and what they are frustrated about. So what they desire could be, we talked a little bit about this earlier, they might desire to work with someone who gives them updates on the project. how the project is going. They want to work with someone who will be able to stay within budget. They want to work with someone who has experience, a lot of experience. They want to work with someone who has a great team. They want to work with someone who can communicate. So what do they desire? And then what are they frustrated about? They may be frustrated with people that leave everything dirty. They may be frustrated with going over budget, over time. What are they frustrated about? So you need to know these two desires and frustrations, and just do a little bit of a research on this, and then fill it into your one-page marketing plan. And this, again, will help you with your messaging when it comes to talking to people, but also when you write content, copy, text for LinkedIn or for your website. And number 3, we've already done this too, on your one-page marketing plan, is your differentiation. So what differentiates? You get clarity on this and fill it in, put it into your plan. Here's a quick example. Also, one more example. This is the last one I think I have, is an electrician. And I think some of you will connect with this. So this is an electrician. His name is Joe Paul Etchington. So his brand used to be called JPE, his initials, electrical. This is what a lot of people do in this space. It's very same. It doesn't really differentiate. So he asked himself, who does he want to work with? So who are his top clients? He wanted to work with people that have money and that spend more money. So more of a higher end audience. And he also wanted to work with people who want to do sustainable energy, which is more expensive. So we helped him rebrand from JPE to energy culture. And it's been a really great exercise for him. It didn't cost him an arm and a leg. When you do a rebrand, it doesn't have to cost that much, but it can bring in a lot more business. And for him, it brought in a lot of the more better business, not the little jobs, but people, again, that have money because of his positioning. And lastly, once you've done those first 3 parts of your plan, you then pick your marketing strategies. So only once you've done the first 3 parts, which is the why, the who, the audience. So the why, which is your purpose, core message, the who, which is your audience, who do you want to work with, and how do you differentiate, number 3. Once you've got these 3 parts, you then pick what channels you're going to use to market yourself or your business. And here, just real quickly, 3 points that I'd like to share with you when it comes to using marketing strategies is, number 1, you want to market where your customers are or your clients are. So be where your clients are. So are they on LinkedIn? For a lot of you, probably they are. Are they on any other social channels? Are they reading newspapers? Are they in industry, reading industry magazines? Are they working with any other businesses that you could partner with? So you want to be where they are. Are they part of any associations, organizations? Are they attending events? Maybe not right now. Number 2, you want to, when you put together your marketing plan, you want to make sure that you use multiple channels. You want to use multiple marketing channels, not just one. Because if one channel breaks down, if it doesn't work anymore, you won't have enough clients coming in usually. So you want to use a multi-channel approach. Number 3 goes hand in hand with number 2. You want to combine online and offline marketing strategies. So you want to use both online and offline marketing, not just one or the other, not just online. A lot of people just do online. If you use also offline, like direct marketing, strategic partnerships, that can go really well, because some people don't focus on these long lost channels that are really impactful still. And this is what I promised you also, and then we have some time for questions still, is this is a 2-hour session that we run, and we go through the one-page marketing plan in more details. And also the one thing we do at the end also is show you the online ecosystem, which puts all the different marketing strategies into one system. So if you want to come, you can either go to this link, or what we normally also do is in the Q&A or in the chat, if you want to use the chat, if you pop in your email address, then one of our team can send you the next date, when we have the next date. It's a virtual session and it's free. And I don't know, I think the next one might be in evenings. We always alternate. We have 2 per month, and we do an evening session 6 to 8 Sydney and Queensland time, and we do also a morning session 10 to 12. So whichever works better for you, you can pick one. And if you want us to send you the dates, just pop in your email address in the chat or in the Q&A and we'll send you the information. I have a question. Oh, Bianca, yeah, would love to be a part of the marketing workshop. Great. Bianca, do you want to share your email address here in the Q&A and then we'll send you the details. Oh, we have a visitor there. I love that.
Yeah, she's speaking in the background.
It's lovely. That's what I love about, you know, this whole, Bianca, I got your email address. I'm just writing it down here. I love this about, you know, being in lockdown a little bit and all working from home. You sort of, you know, see into people's homes and there's usually kids and pets involved. Shirley, yeah, your email. Shirley, I didn't get your email, but I got Charmaine's email. Yeah, cool. Everyone here who's leaving their email, you will get an email from my team, from one of my team, Denise or Steffi probably, or Heidi, and they will tell you the dates, and then you can just tell us which one you want to attend. And as I said, it's a free session. It's really good. It's jam-packed 2 hours, and it's with my co-founder, Christo. Vanessa, I'd love more information. Yeah.
Do you want to stop sharing your screen so that?
Oh, yes. Oh, where is it? Here we go. Oh, stop share. Here we go. Cool. Let me just see that I have everyone here. Is it, should I, yeah, Vanessa, I got yours. And then ask me questions too, guys, so we can use this time still for questions too. I got Shirley, I got Vanessa, I got Charmaine. And then let me see if I have any questions while we're at it. Vanessa, Michelle, yep, I got that too. Let me just scroll down to see if I have any questions because there's a lot of email addresses. I don't want to waste your time here, so let me just get to the questions first and then I'll deal with your emails after. Oh, there is no question maybe.
I should also say that people can let us know at NAWIC if you want the details, and we can send your emails through. So happy for anyone to, if you miss it there, email me, email NAWIC, and we'll make sure that your details get through.
Yeah.
Also, there's a couple of people who joined late because I received late, or I actually didn't check my emails with people. Their links weren't working, so I just want to let those people know that the slides will be sent through, and also I believe we've recorded this session, so we can send that through as well.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think I saw a recording in progress, so you're welcome to share that. I'm going to share my slides through too, and then also what else did I promise? The culture book. Culture
Yes.
book slides, and then I'm just copying your email addresses here. If I missed it, if anyone is not getting an email by say tomorrow night from us, then email us directly, and I'm going to drop my email in here right now too. My email is, send it to info, because my name is so difficult. Send it to info@basicbananas.com. So if you suddenly don't hear from us, or get in touch with NAWIC. And I have a question from Vanessa here. Melissa says, many thanks so much. Really interesting session. Amazing. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming. Vanessa, I have a question about the messaging you were discussing earlier on the copy. I just wanted a bit more clarification on that, but I'm happy to discuss that after later time since we're short on time. No, I'm happy to discuss. What specifically would you like to know about the messaging, Vanessa? And I'm also happy to stay a few minutes extra.
I've just made it so that Vanessa should be able to talk now if she's still there.
Oh, okay. Hi, thanks so much.
Hey, Vanessa.
Hi. I think you were talking about 4 messaging, but I didn't know 4 key ways to message. But I didn't know if you were talking about whether we had to address all 4 perspectives, or whether you had to choose what perspective depending on the market you were targeting. I was a bit confused because we kind of rushed through it, but I was really interested on that.
Yes, you want to make sure that you address all the different, so the 4 personalities that I've given you, you want to address them all. So the problem is, let's say if you are a detailed person, it means that when you write text for your marketing campaigns, it will be very detailed. So you will naturally write very detailed copy, but then that means that everyone else who is not a super detailed person like me. I wish I was more detailed, but let's say for me, if I read your text, I would not feel connected. So what you want to do is you want to use all these 4 personalities when you write the text and include messages, let's say on your website, on your LinkedIn, include messages that appeal to all of these 4 personality types. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But do you have to do that in the same message, or do you just pick and choose?
Oh, no, usually that's okay. I got it. Usually it depends, let's say on your website, you have a lot of text. So you would have on your homepage, you would pretty much have one message for all those 4 people. So like NAWIC actually does that. NAWIC starts with the visionary and also the impactor. They talk about the impact that they make in the vision. And then they go into the details of how NAWIC works. And then I'm not sure if they have case studies. I think they are case studies, maybe that would be then for the skeptic. Now, if you are, so that would be on a website, you would have all 4 on one page. And then if you are doing a campaign, let's say on Facebook, let's say if you did, for most of you, Facebook probably won't be the channel, but let's say if you did a Facebook ad campaign, so let's say you do the paid advertisement on Facebook, like the ones that you see all the time, you would pick one. So then you would run maybe 2 or 3 different ads, one for a detailed message, so more details, and maybe one for a visionary. And then you would see very quickly, because let's say on Facebook advertising, you get very quickly what's working or what's not. And then you would see is the visionary message working better than the detailed message. But normally for most of you, for websites, LinkedIn, you want to use all of those 4 in the one copy. Does that make sense?
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure, Vanessa. Great. Is there anyone else that has a question? Oh, let me just see here.
Might be everyone.
I think that's it, maybe.
Some great feedback, though. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic. Obviously,
It's
I've made everyone able to talk. So if anyone does have a question that they wanted to say, you should be able to just unmute yourself and do that now. We've got maybe time for maybe one question. If no one wants to jump in.
I'm just going to check here, chat. No, we're all good, I think. If you have any questions, I'm just going to pop in the email address here. So if you have any questions or you want to chat further, you can get in touch here on this email address. It will come to me, or connect with me on LinkedIn too. You can find me on LinkedIn under Franziska easily. And everyone here who has left their email for the session, the virtual 2-hour session, the live session, you'll get an email by tomorrow night. If you didn't get it, it's because I made a mistake and I didn't see your email us so we can get you, or go to this link here. Straight away, you can book in here. It's also, you don't have to pay. There we go. Great. Thanks, Charmaine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you all for joining us. And most importantly, thanks to NAWIC for organizing this session and for doing the work that they're doing, because we need organizations like these to support women and, people in general, but really super grateful for NAWIC for the impact that they're making. So thank you, guys.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much. It's been really fantastic.
My pleasure. And I can see all your messages here. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Petri, Mila, Amanda, Cheryl, Debbie. Thanks so much. It always means a lot to hear the feedback too. Thanks so much. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have an amazing night.